Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're jumping into a world of job titles that, let's be honest, can be super confusing but are absolutely shaping our future. We're going to break down all the different roles in the data world, so let's get right to it.
So if you've ever heard these terms, data scientist, data analyst, data engineer, and thought, wait, don't they all just do data stuff? Well, you're definitely not alone. It's a whole landscape of titles that seem to blur together. But I promise, by the end of this, you'll see exactly who does what and why every single one of these roles is so important.
All right, here's our game plan. We're basically going to follow the journey of data as it moves through a company. First, we'll talk about why these jobs even exist. Then, we'll look at who builds the foundation, who digs for treasure in all that data, and who actually puts it to use. And finally, we'll pull it all together to see the big picture.
Okay, let's kick things off with the big question. Why are there so many different data jobs in the first place? Well, it's because we're all trying to solve this giant modern data puzzle.
You see, the biggest challenge for pretty much any company today is that we are swimming, practically drowning, in data. But just having piles of information doesn't really do anything, right? The real trick is turning all that raw info into smart decisions. So to make this all make sense, let's use an analogy. Think of it like we're building a data-powered house. You wouldn't hire just one person to do everything. You need specialists for each part of the job.
And just like any house, you can't build the cool stuff until you've got a rock-solid foundation. And this is where we meet our first crew, the architects and, yes, the plumbers of the data world.
This whole area is called data engineering. These are the people who build and maintain all the systems that hold and move data. In our house analogy, they're the architects who draw up the blueprints for the databases, and they're also the plumbers who lay all the pipes to make sure data can flow smoothly and reliably from point A to point B.
So what does that actually mean day to day? Well, they build the databases. That's where the data is stored. Then they construct the pipelines to move it all around. And this is a big one. They make sure the data is high quality. They're making sure the water flowing through those pipes is clean and ready for everyone else to use. Seriously, without the engineers, nobody else can get their job done.
And sometimes, we're not just building a regular house, we're building a massive skyscraper. When you're dealing with absolutely enormous data sets, engineers pull out the heavy machinery. That's big data processing. It's a whole specialized field for handling data on a scale that would just break all the traditional tools.
Okay, so the foundation is poured, the plumbing is connected, and our data-powered house is standing. Now what? Well, now we need people to go inside and actually find the valuable stuff. This is where the detectives and explorers of the data world come in. Now, this slide is awesome because it clears up the two roles people mix up the most. On one side, you've got data analytics. I want you to think of them as the detectives. They look at data from the past to answer very specific questions, like what happened last quarter and why did it happen? On the other side, you've got data science. These folks are more like explorers. They're trying to predict the future, asking that all-important question. Based on what we know, what's likely to happen next?
So how do these detectives and explorers make sure they're not just guessing? Well, their secret weapon is statistical analysis. This is the bedrock, the fundamental toolkit for interpreting data. It's the set of mathematical rules they use to test their theories and prove their conclusions are legit. You could almost call it the grammar of data.
But you know, sometimes you don't even have a specific question to answer. Sometimes you're just digging for gold. That's data mining. It's this process of sifting through mountains of data to find hidden patterns and connections that you had no idea were even there.
And data mining is everywhere. You just might not see it. Think about it. Your bank uses it for fraud detection, flagging a purchase that seems weird for you. Grocery stores use market basket analysis. That's how they figured out that people who buy diapers on a Friday night also tend to buy beer. And pretty much every company you can think of uses it to group customers together so they can market to them more effectively.
All right, so our explorers have found some amazing insights. But an insight just sitting on a spreadsheet, it's not doing much good, is it? We need one more group of specialists to take these discoveries and turn them into real-world tools that people can actually use. These are the innovators and the communicators.
This is where the machine learning engineer steps in. A data scientist might build an amazing predictive model in a protected lab environment. It works, but it's kind of fragile. The ML engineer's job is to take that brilliant experiment and make it ready for the real world, to make it strong enough to handle millions of users 24/7 without breaking. They're the ones who turn a cool prototype into an industrial strength product.
So what about everyone else in the company who isn't a data expert?
How do they benefit from all this? That's where business intelligence, or BI, comes into play. BI folks are the ultimate communicators. They take all this complex data and transform it into reports and dashboards that are easy for anyone to understand. Back in our data-powered house, they're the ones who build the beautiful control panel on the wall showing you your energy usage.
And the stuff they build is what the rest of the company runs on. We're talking about that sales dashboard the VP checks first thing every morning, or those weekly performance reports that everyone reads, or the charts that show you how things have been trending over the last year. BI is all about making data accessible and useful for everyday decisions.
So, we've met the builders, the explorers, the innovators, and the communicators. It's time to step back, zoom out, and see how this whole team works together to create the complete data picture.
This quote really nails it. They often overlap and complement each other in practice. The key thing to remember is that none of these roles exists in a bubble. The analyst needs clean data from the engineer. The ML engineer needs a working model from the data scientist. It's a true ecosystem where everyone depends on everyone else.
And that right there is the most important thing to take away from all this. It's never about asking which data job is the best one. The real magic happens when they all work together. It's this collaborative effort, the builders, the explorers, and the innovators all in sync, that actually creates real tangible value from a bunch of ones and zeros.
So as data becomes more and more woven into the fabric of our world, the way these roles collaborate is only going to get more critical. And that leaves us with one final thought. Are you a builder, an explorer, or an innovator? As data keeps shaping our future, which part of this incredible journey will you explore?